Okay. Think we're good here. All right. It is Sunday. It is Art Sunday. How is everybody doing? This is the current state of our current project. Hope you all are doing well. Alright, so for those of you that are new here, we are following along with the Bob Ross tutorials for Joy of Painting. We've selected season 3 because it looked rather interesting. Dear God, why? I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Alright, sorry, I had to go off about something. Anyhow. Something just happened that just pissed me the fuck off, so that's okay. So yeah, we're following along with the Bob Ross Joy of Painting tutorials. We're currently needle felting along with season 3, and this is the 3rd episode that we're following along with. Bubbling Stream, I think is what it's called. Here, let's find out. If you want to watch the tutorial in full, you can follow this link here, and that will, Bubbling Stream. That will take you to the full video on the Bob Ross YouTube channel. Since we have it paused a lot over here. We're getting closer to the end. We're about 16 minutes into a 26-minute tutorial. I decided to do needle felting because I hadn't seen anybody following him with that. So I was like, hey, that sounds like a cool idea. I've seen people do everything else, and we followed along previously with paint. So let's give it a go, and we'll see how this works out. And you know, we'll take it from there. You can find the photos of the other 2 that I've done either on the Etsy shop for sale, or sorry, this bottom corner's, we're gonna have to clean that that bad boy up there at some point, so. Although I just realized I'm painstakingly trying to get this edge covered, and yet if I'm gonna snip it, we're gonna have to go back over it, so maybe I should stop fussing with that. And just wait till we trim out that bottom edge. So, yeah, so we're doing the needle felting. I do dry needle felting. I use acrylic yarn, so you can't really wet felt the acrylic yarn because it doesn't really stick to itself like wool will. It doesn't have the same after effect, as far as I understand it. I've not tried it, but I really don't want to deal with that mess, and this is fine for me. Yeah, so now this felt sheet was supposed to be 9 by 12. The width was not 9, not by a long shot. It was more like 7 3/4. So when I originally started this, I was like, oh yeah, we'll have like 1/2 inch on each side here, and then we've got, you know, the edge there, because I was trying to do an 8 by 10. And yeah, no, that didn't work. So since this felt's not actually the size it proclaimed to be, we're gonna have to trim up the bottom edge, especially. The top edge isn't too bad. That's pretty fine. Well, you can't really see it. Like, the top edge is pretty even, so I'm okay with that. We'll have to trim the excess off the sides, obviously. But this bottom corner down here, just, I don't know, it just lost its mind. So it happens sometimes, especially when you're using one of these bases. I think this was the corner I kept pulling on when I was lifting up off of my mat to make sure I wasn't completely stuck to it. And I think that corner just got a little bit stretched out. So I think that's what happened there. But we'll trim it up, and you know, if you do buy one of these pieces, I would suggest putting it in like a chunky wide frame or sticking a mat over it. You might not be able to leave the glass in because it'll be a little bit thicker. But you know, just so you're aware, that's how you would more than likely display it. Or, you know, go to get it custom framed too. I mean, that's also an option if you want to spend the money on that. So I've got a few patches of yellow poking through there. I'm gonna let that be, as much as I don't want to. I am gonna let it be, just because we're gonna have more colors coming in on top of this. And even though this bottom edge is probably gonna have to get a little bit more attention when we clean it up, when we do our trimming phase, I still want to try to get some of this, because the whole edge probably won't need to be touched, just part of it. When we finish this project, and I know it won't be anywhere near Christmas season, we're going to be starting to work on our seasonal project, or one of our seasonal projects, which is going to be a 3D little gingerbread house display that we are going to be doing with needle felting. Because I think it's going to take me a few weeks to get through, and I also have Christmas presents that I need to work on, so if we finish the house in time, we can do the Christmas presents on stream as well. The presents are for people that don't watch the streams, so I don't have to worry about them sneaking a peek at what they are getting. So that is just fine and dandy. Now this is just the regular felt squares. I did pick up a piece of stiff felt. I don't know how that's gonna felt. I'm gonna test a corner of it and see how it goes. But I'm curious to see how that would work out. Maybe I wouldn't have quite so much pulling happening. Wouldn't have this problem over here. But actually the problem doesn't look that bad on camera as it does in person. So I don't know. It's really not that bad, and scissors will clean that right up anyway. But I have started the prep work on the base for the gingerbread house. I originally said I was going to try to record that I wasn't going to do it on stream because it was going to be really hard to keep it in camera frame in my workspace, and the same rung true for trying to record it. It wasn't working. So I'll just have to tell you what I did to prep the base, which is basically wrapping the styrofoam base in floppy felt and the non-stiff version. And I tried to poke that with the needle into the styrofoam to a degree in some places. And right now I'm working on wrapping the edges in the acrylic yarn for the snow on the base, and I have white yarn for that I am working on. I've got one side done. I'm working on a long side, and I'm almost done the one long side, and then I have another short side and then another long side to go. So I would show you, but my camera's not zoomed out far enough to show you where I'm at the moment. But that I'm gonna do off stream, just because that's a whole ass a lot. Because it's taken me a couple of days to get where I'm even at on that right now. So, you know, we'll probably do the tree together, and that's gonna be kind of scritchy. So I will let you know when we get to that, and I'll try to not have it near the microphone. But I think with the tree, I didn't get any green felt. I could wrap it in a different color, but I don't know if we need to wrap it. I mean, I don't know, probably should, just to give it something else to cling to. I don't know, if we end up wrapping it, it'll probably be in like purple felt. I guess the color on that doesn't really matter so much because, I mean, if it was wrapped in green, it would probably still show through. So, yeah, we might have to wrap that. I'll see. Just, you know, make sure that the fiber has something else to cling to. That and the styrofoam tends to the styrofoam sheet I grabbed is about as bad as glitter. When I took the plastic off, it was just raining little tiny styrofoam bits everywhere. I was so upset. I was like, oh my god, it's everywhere. It looks like a container of diamond dust glitter exploded. I was like, oh no. It was like clinging to my shirt, my pants. It was all over my table. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I still see little bits of it. It's not quite so bad now that I've got it wrapped. The felt wrapping on it is containing it. So yeah, we might actually end up wrapping that tree just to prevent a mess from constantly going everywhere every time we touch it. That would probably be beneficial, shall we say. Yeah, so I mean, I see how when we use the floppy felt, it's pulling the edges in, so I don't know how that's going to work on the stiffer felt. I don't know if it would do that. So the stiff felt sheet I got is definitely going to be an experiment. Now the stiff felt sheets are a little bit more expensive, so I'm not sure if part of me wants it to work out or not, because they're about let's see, if we go by, I want to say they're triple the cost of the individual floppy felt. I think the stiff felt sheet I got was like $149, something like that. That ballpark range, and the sheets themselves, regular price, were either $49 or $59. I saw two different price points. I'm not sure which is actually the real regular price, but I hope to find out soon. I'll have to check their website and see if their regular price drops back down, or if their shelf is just wrong and their merchandiser for their kids crafts department hasn't been doing their job, or they weren't told that the price changed. I mean, either is possible. I don't know the ins and outs of how they run things over there at that craft store, so don't know, but I don't like it when I don't know what the regular price is supposed to be. That annoys me. Twitch, what are you doing? Twitch is being fussy. Let's not be fussy, okay? That's not fun. Alright, so we're working on getting this ground area put in here at the base of our stream. You know, we'll see how this goes. I mean, it kind of just looks like it's framing a pond to me, but like, we don't know if this cuts off in any one direction and this is just blocking the view. I guess we're gonna have to pretend in that aspect. I'm gonna have to fluff some more of this color though. I know that. I've been fluffing a bunch of white yarn this weekend because I've been blowing through quite a lot of it doing our base. I'm actually nervous. I'm thinking maybe I should have bought another ball of white yarn. But I really don't want to go all the way over there for one ball of white yarn. Might be able to get some white yarn at Walmart. The question is, how much is it going to be? I guess it would balance out the cost of gas of going over to the other place, so for convenience sake. I might just have to suck it up and pay a little bit more. Although they both regular price might be about the same. So in the long run it might be cheaper anyway just to get it at Walmart. We'll see. I'll wait and see if I run out. I might just be jumping the gun a bit. And I have to figure out if I want to use fluff to do the lines on our upcoming gingerbread house project, or if I just want to use the straight yarn that's already in a nice neat line to give it more of an icing look, a little bit more of a clean look. Don't know. Might be a little bit easier to deal with in that respect, but we'll see. Okay, so we're over here in this corner now, filling this fluff in. Alright, so I'm going to try to stay pretty close to my pen line here. Just to try to keep that edge as straight as I can. I was actually thinking about getting some felt by the yard, but I think it's a little more expensive to do it that way, especially when the squares are on sale for 25 cents. The yardage was on sale too, but it was like $5.99 a yard, and I wasn't quite sure how many squares could fit into a yard. And at that point, the 25-cent sale I was like, I'll just do this. This is fine. And then I don't have to cut it as much. This particular sheet was a bulk pack that I had gotten off of Amazon. So do be aware that even though it's one measurement, it might not be that exact measurement when you open it. I don't know if that's a big deal for some people. It might not be, depending on what you're doing with it. If we had gone like 5 by 7, it really wouldn't be an issue, because then I could stay within the square. But since I wanted to try to go 8 by 10, because I just feel like the smaller you go with bob, the less justice you do it. We've gone like 4 inches by 4 inches before on some of the follow along tutorials that we did with paint, where we were painting some magnets and then some tiny square mini canvases that had like a little display easel. Like those ones were small. Those were tough to encompass the bobness in that size. So I want it to be a little bit bigger this time out, in the hopes of doing it a little more justice. So, I mean, we'll see. Well, this corner looks a little uneven too, but it's not as bad as the other side, so we got that going for us to a degree. So far this piece has been done in a mix of wool roving and acrylic yarn, because I didn't have quite the multiple shades in the yarn, and I figured, well, I'm not in full danger of running out of some of the shades of the roving, and I got it to use, right? So we might as well intermingle them. Alright, I'm gonna get a little bit more on this bottom corner. Oh, big chunk. I don't think we need quite that much. So I try to have my fluff pre-prepped, just to save some time. So if you get roving, you don't really need to do anything to it. The acrylic yarn route, though, if you go with that, you do need to do a little bit of prep work to it if you want to have it fluffy like the roving. If you're just going to use it straight off of the twisted yarn ball, that's different. You don't have to do any prep with that, but I try to turn it into this, so there's a little bit of prep work involved in turning it into this. It's not too bad, but it does take a little bit of time. So I try to keep my sandwich bags that I have the fluff stored in topped off when possible, or if I know I'm going to be needing that color soon. So try to do that ahead of time. I'm using a small gauge needle. I don't know what the actual size on the needle is. I did not check the fine print of the toolkit I got. The number gauge wasn't listed on the toolkit, it just said small. So, I'm not sure if it would say, I got the toolkit off Amazon. I'm not sure if it would say the size of the gauge on it. If I went back and tried to find the same toolkit. But do make sure you invest in the finger protectors, because these are barbed, very, very, very sharp needles. These are not something to play with. And they will go into your finger. So you definitely want to be safe. And protect yourself as much as possible, and don't let kids use these unsupervised. I wouldn't let kids use these even supervised, to be perfectly honest. Maybe a mature teenager, maybe. And definitely not not unsupervised. Alright. I really don't want any tragedies and don't want to have any trips to the emergency room to get a needle pulled out of your finger. Or stitches or whatever. I'm sure it would probably end up involving a tetanus shot as well. I would not be surprised. Alright, now I didn't grab the other colors because I was like, oh no, we're gonna spend most of today working on this brown, but then I stopped fussing on the bottom edge and now I'm like, oh, we're definitely gonna need those other colors now. I'm not quite sure how many more sessions we're gonna have on this particular piece. I was thinking we could maybe try to do a pumpkin for fall, but that might depend on how far we get with the other thing. Like, I guess we can stream the top of the board prep if need be. I don't know. We'll see. I've got my embroidery hoops coming on Monday, supposedly. That I am getting to try something. So we'll see how that works out. And I don't think we'll be done this today. I really don't see that happening. But there is a chance we could be finishing this one tomorrow. A slim chance, but I guess it depends on how far we get today. Husband and I are eating together today, so it won't be a very late stream. That and I do have some other things that I need to tend to tonight. I have a article I need to, a quick article I need to write. My goodness, that did not want to give that one up, did it? Which is why I tend to pull up off of this particular mat every so often, because that was starting to cling to that guy and did not want to let go. Alright, let's get this one worked into here. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. If we finish early, then we finish early. I haven't done any of the size planning stages yet for the house itself, so there's a chance that we could be working on that, just to work that out, in my sketchbook. I have an idea of what size I want the walls to be, but haven't fully worked that out just yet. But I have an idea. I just haven't put that down on paper yet. But I mean, worst comes to worst, we can do that together. Yeah, I have an article I have to do real quick tonight. I have another article that I need to look at to get an idea of how much editing I'm gonna need to do to it. Or, I mean, that could wait until tomorrow, I guess. At the very latest, I should at least glance at it tomorrow instead of leaving it till Tuesday. And we need to get some prep work done on our Warrior for Thursday's WoW Challenges stream. I've got prep work started on them, but we need to do a bit more, because I'm nowhere near ready for stream. And I really do want to make sure that we get that sorted. Alright. So we'll get this bit of brown worked in here. So hope everybody had a good weekend. And that you were able to at least take some time for yourself. If you're not off on the weekends, I hope your weekend wasn't too painful. I always had to work weekends, so it didn't matter if it was at the casino or the craft store. I was always working weekends. Well, not technically true. There was a brief stint. Well, when I first started working with the craft store, I was, I think I was technically part-time. And I had to work nights. Then I got moved up to merchandising, and when I was merchandising, I was Monday through Friday. But had to work a Sunday, every so often, a Sunday night when we had a special sale. And then during the summer, I'd always get roped in on Saturdays for a sidewalk sale. I guess spring too. Whenever we did the sidewalk sales, I'd have to work those as well, which kind of sucked. But, you know, it is what it is. And then when I was doing front end and cash office, then I had to work the weekends. That's what it was. I had split days off during the week, and then it was working weekend. Which wasn't fun. So I definitely feel those that have to work on the weekends pain. Alright, so we're going to advance this a little bit. And it looks like he's going to start highlighting. He's making more of that like grayish blue color. I just have soft gray. We're just going to use that. And he's going to start coming in. I'm not quite sure why he put so much effort into the highlights, because he takes half of them away. But I guess it's so that they just peek through. Alright, so he does his highlighty thingies. And then he comes back in with his grassy stuff. And kind of remarries the grassy stuff. Into the rocks here, so it doesn't really look all that separate anymore. Okay, he left it a little more sparse in spots. Just a little. Okay. Oh, okay, oh, see, I missed this part. How did I not notice that? Okay, he puts in another waterfall. I completely missed that. Alright. Well, damn. Okay. Alright, Bob. Hold on. Let me back you up. Alright, let's back up further because they zoomed in. Alright, let's back you up to the... Oh, what did I do? Oh, that was volume. I have it muted anyway. Alright. So, we'll take a look at that. And we'll see about putting it in our shadows here. So I'm gonna grab our soft gray. That's kind of what we used up in here. There were some spots where the camel that we had put down had shown through. I'm not gonna bother with the camel this time down in here. Sorry, we're just molding this into a shape that I can kind of do something with here. Alright, let me see my preview so I can see where the heck we're sitting here. Alright, so we've got a bit of a highlighted section about in here. So I'm gonna have to take this up a bit more. just so we can figure things out here. Let's grab a little bit more of this. Alright, actually I do need to see the larger one here. Alright, alright, where else were we at here? So this one's gonna be a little bit more wispy, or at least that's what we're gonna try to do. So some of this might just kind of melt in and fade into nothingness a bit. We'll see, we'll see. How we can get going with that. You'll see how it's kind of disappearing more and more as we're working that in. It's from the barbs in the needle, grabbing and pulling everything down and merging it with the other layers. Alright, so this is kind of, I mean, the whole thing's kind of, you know, fuss mode where you want to fuss around to get it where you're happy with it. You know, put as many highlights in as you want. Put them, you know, about where you would think they would be. Because we're going to be covering up some of this in a minute anyhow. With some of our grassy things, you know, do them as thick or as thin as you're feeling. Just don't get too carried away and then make the whole bottom the solid light gray. That would be a change in rock color entirely and not technically highlighting. So we're just trying to kind of use the idea and try to follow along the idea of Bob's brainchild, but we probably won't be able to duplicate it exactly, and that's fine. We really shouldn't be trying to duplicate exactly. You can get close if that's what you want to do. Now I have another brainchild that I'm working on, which is what I'm waiting for the embroidery hoops for, from a reference photo that I saw, or a photo I saw on Unsplashed that I'm using as a reference photo. We might try to do that one on stream. That one will probably be a lot faster. I say that because it'll probably be faster than the Bob stuff because it's a little bit smaller because of the size that I'm gonna be kind of forced into going with. Because of, you know, my felt square size, so I'm gonna have to be using a 5-inch embroidery hoop, because I think that'll work with this size felt square. I hope it'll work with this size felt square. I mean, we'll find out when we get there, obviously, but so a lot of this rock is probably gonna get covered up here now that I saw. If I had seen that that waterfall was there sooner, this probably would have been a little bit higher. But, oh well, there's not much I can do about that now. Not really. That would probably take a heck of a lot more fussing. Alright. Just want to try to make sure all of our loose ends here are tied down to something. I'm gonna pull this guy up and just try to re-smooth him out. So, I mean, you can kind of see the idea of our picture on the back side here. Kind of. It's a little blurry, but kind of get the idea there. Alright. I think I'm somewhat in frame. Okay, so if we bring you into about here, maybe we can put this highlight about here. And we'll see how that goes. So kind of like how we did our mountains, we want this to be a little bit like our mountains in a previous one. We kind of want the breaks in there, so that some of that dark brown does show up through, like kind of like up in here and stuff. Alright, just gonna get a little bit more floof. Alright, so let me see. I'm also kind of trying to keep an eye on Bob's placement. So, I mean, we're trying to be somewhat similar. Not gonna be exact again, but, you know, we can try. I mean, there's only so much you can do to attempt to replicate with fiber what someone does with paint. It's gonna be a little bit difficult because you're not gonna have quite the same blendability as you do with real paint. But I do find that as part of, you know, an interesting challenge. So I did post a sketch that I did in colored pencil based off of the reference photo that I was using on Unsplash. For my embroidery hoop project for the needle felting. Those colors aren't going to be exact if you saw the photo. I think I put it on Twitter and I put it on the Instagram. Concept work in progress piece. So I find that sometimes if I'm struggling to figure out how I want to place things or the shades I want to use, that sometimes I just need to put it down on paper before I do the real thing, so that way I can work out my placement or figure out if the whole idea is even gonna work. It might not work the way I was thinking it was going to. I might have to go back in and readjust placement, or think about approaching it maybe a little bit differently, or I might need to switch my colors based off of what I have available. So sometimes it helps to look at it actually materialize instead of just doing it on the fly, for me. And I really wasn't using those colored pencils for anything else anyhow. They weren't super expensive. They were just the Crayola colored pencils, and I was like, well, I've had these for years. I got them to use for whatever, so I might as well use them for something other than doing the thank you notes that we're going into. You okay? Mm-hmm. That we're going into the store purchases. Sorry, just checking on the husband. Alright, so we'll get our highlights put in, and I think I'm gonna have to go and grab our light green bit of felt or fluff here. Alright, let's see here. Get you kind of put into here next. Just need to do a few more highlights. And then we'll be looking pretty good there. Oh, you know what? We're gonna need to grab that cream too. And the blue. Well, I don't know if we'll need the blue, actually. I mean, there's a chance. We might need to add in a little bit more brown, actually. Here in just a moment. try to figure out this waterfall placement now. That kind of sort of surprised me. Oh wow, that kind of brought that in a little bit. I mean, it's gonna get cut off a little there because it's a little wobbly. But you know, we'll do what we can. All right, and perhaps we'll stick another Hi Lady friend down in here. Wow, that was a really loud stereo. If that came through on the mic, that's what that thumping was. Somebody's car stereo going by. If you're new here, I live on a very busy road. And this house isn't exactly soundproof, so that's fun. And I don't know if those like black squares that you can buy would do much for that. I don't know. I don't really have the money to try to experiment with that. You okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. This guy kind of worked in, and some of him is probably gonna get cut off, most likely. Alright, let me pop that up. Alright. So let me put the gray back in that bag. Okay, so there's our gray. Now I'm gonna come back in with a little bit of the brown. Just to try to see something here. Alright, so if we take our brown, right? So that waterfall's gonna kind of be maybe around in here. Let's try to see if we can frame this up a little bit. Maybe attempt to give us a little bit more room to work with. Don't know if it will, but we can try. We can certainly try. Alright. Bit more of our fluff here. don't want to completely lose that, but like our shadow there, or our highlight, excuse me. Don't want to completely lose that. So I'm going to try to work around it and see what we can do. Sorry, sometimes husband noises might filter in through the background. Alright, so we get this. Put in through here. I mean, we're gonna have some grass coming down through here. I just wanted to try to get this in here just for the angles and to give us a little bit more real estate down in here to do what we need to do. Alright, so grab this and we'll filter in, not really filter, but we'll tap this in kind of around everybody else in here. Mostly for when we bring the green back through, so we don't have too much weirdness shining through the green. Okay. So now let's see here. I mean, I've got a little speck of blue there. I also kind of feel like we can deal with that with the green. 2 specks of blue, really. That's probably not that bad to deal with there. So then let's see about getting this put in here. Just so we can kind of make it look like, yeah, the water would be kind of spilling through here. That'll teach me not to watch the tutorial the whole way through. You really think I would learn that by now? But I mean, it is me after all, so. But since I'm so bad at scale placement when trying to follow along with his stuff, I really should start doing this. I think I watched it most of the way through before and just didn't notice him doing that. Or didn't remember him doing that. One of those. Alright. So that's not bad. I think that may have helped our cause here. Just a bit. Alright, I'm not gonna worry too hard about this in here, because I think we can take care of that with our greens. Okay, let me pop that up. Alright. It's a little bit of a thick boy. I mean, it's gonna look a little bit raised up anyway because my mat's not flat any longer. It used to be flat at one point, but it's definitely seen a lot of action, so. Alright, let me grab the other colors. So we need green, I need cream, and we need our blue. I already have the other two shades of green over here, since they were the roving pieces, so that's fine. I already have white over here too, so. Alright, you stay there. Let me get my earbuds back in here so I can hear what's happening. Alright, so this is the dark green that we were using. So I'm using this pretty sparingly. We weren't going fully to town on this, so let's see how we get on here. I mean, we're gonna have the other shades of green coming in too. This won't be the only shade. This is sort of our darker, shadowy color. So we want to get that worked in. Grab our scissors and carefully snip that off there. Now you want to snip it just slightly, like a hair's breadth above. your base just so you don't cut into your base, because that would be tragic. Don't want to do that. After spending so much time and effort working on getting this in here. We'll grab our other shades of green here in just a minute. Just so our dark one doesn't steal the show on us. Now, I don't think he put too much dark in this section here. I might just kind of try to do a little something with the dark, just so it kind of matches the upper areas a little bit better. I'm not going to do too much though, but just a little bit would probably be fair. To put in here. So I'm gonna grab our light green. This is the green that we've kind of been using as our middle-y green kind of color. Getting this worked in here. Now I'm not trying to cover up that dark green entirely. I mean, some spots will probably get covered with this shade. I don't want to lose our rock highlight either. We definitely need this middle of the road green in here. And I kind of wanted to overlap it up into here just to make it feel like it's a little more fluid. The angles are a little more together there, that they fit a little bit better. And don't forget, when you're doing this, to stop and look up. So that way, you're not overdoing an area. Stop and take a step back. Actually look at what you've got going on. Breathe for a second. So I'm guilty of not doing that as often as I should be. I usually do it when I've realized, oh damn, like I got carried away, so in order to try to prevent the carrying away from happening, try to remember to do that every so often, or every time you're done putting a piece of fiber in. When you're coming up for air to grab another color or more of the same color. I mean, it sometimes can be hard to gauge where you're at when you're always head down. Alright, now I think we'll do a little bit of our light color here. The humming of traffic. Let's see about maybe getting a small strip of view worked into here. Just be real careful when you're snipping any longer pieces short when they're already sort of attached. Just so you don't get a little too close. You don't want to snip your piece. I mean, you'd probably be fixable, but I can only imagine the anxiety that would happen, or that you would have to go through trying to fix it. Found out from the other side when we were up here. We want to be a little bit more sparing with that shade. That's our like lime flesh color is what I'm calling it. It kind of reminds me of the inside of a lime when you cut it open. So I'm just gonna grab some of our light green. And start to get some more of that worked in here. Just kind of bring these two sections together, at least that's what we're trying to do. Make them feel a little more fluid and a little more like they belong together. Gonna need a bit more of this. Now we do have a light spot there that just kind of stops like right into here. That might be all right. Kind of see how that goes here in just a minute. Do I need to get him? Hang on, Momo. Give me just a minute, okay? Let me finish this one piece. Getting this kind of worked into here. Hang on, I'll get him if I need to. I just finished stabbing this one spot so I don't lose where I'm at. I think we'll end up bringing like a little bit of dark down in through here. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I need to take the dog potty. Okay, sorry about that. Doggo had to pee. And then other dog decided he had to pee too. So, as soon as I came back in, the other one's like, okay, my turn. And I'm like, wait, what? We're doing this now? Alright, let me get this slid back on there. Alright. So, we're gonna need a little bit more of this green, or light green is the actual name of the color here. Should still be in frame there. When the doggo's gotta go, the doggo's gotta go. And he was actually whining at the husband, so I was like, oh, yeah. And the husband wasn't in a position that he could walk away from what he was in the middle of, so. Alright, so we get this worked into here. Alright, what time is it? 5:41. Okay. So yeah, we probably won't finish today. But we will probably finish tomorrow. Husband, who is that?
Who is what?
In the DOGFOOD. On the stool.
Oh, it was them.
Okay. Just want to keep track of who is eating. It seemed like Momo was on a hunger strike. Because he wasn't touching his dog food at all. So we actually switched dog food. I'm just trying to keep an eye that they're eating the new stuff. What the heck is touching my leg? Something's touching my leg. I don't know if it was a piece of fuzz or what. That was very unnerving. Alright, so I took our dark green, our lily pad or foliage or whatever you want to call this. The roving bags didn't have names for the colors, so I couldn't even begin to tell you, and I doubt I'd ever be able to get the same shade. Because, you know, dye lots and stuff, that is one thing to keep in mind, is dye lots with your fiber or your... I don't think they do dye lot numbers on the roving, but if you're using yarn and you think you're going to need a lot of one specific color, maybe buy an extra. if you think you're gonna run out in mid-project, that's the same dye lot. Because I've seen yarn dye lots differ vastly. Like, you don't really notice it unless they're up against each other. I mean, they can use the same formula every time. And the shades might just end up being slightly off. Also depends on, you know, the material that's being dyed. I just wanted that to be a little bit of a thicker patch of dark green in there. So we'll trim that. I'm gonna pop this up as gently as I can. Alright, so I mean, it's not looking too bad. There we go. We're not looking too shabby. So if we look at the big picture, everybody together. So alright. Okay, so I want to get a little bit more of our light green fluff kind of down into here. Let's have the edge of the other waterfall start about there. Is what I'm thinking. And I'm okay with some of the dark brown feeding up in through here. Just kind of make it look like little dirt divots or rock divots in there. Like, that's fine. Alright, so let's pop that back off. So I'm gonna grab our dark color here. I wanna just kind of work that in down into there. There's all kinds of fluff in the air. See it moving in the fans out of the corner of my eye. Alright, let me grab some of our light stuff here. And I think maybe it will kind of, maybe we'll highlight the top of this. Man, ever since I started calling this like lime flesh, this color, now I kind of want limes. I might have some limes still in the freezer somewhere. I don't know if we still have them. If we do, they're probably like buried in the bottom of our chest freezer. Alright, let me pop that up, and I'm just gonna kind of re-smooth out the back there. So, I mean, yeah, this guy's pretty thick back here. That's okay. Alright, I feel like we probably need maybe another little strip of our white guy here. Maybe around in here. Let's see, am I crooked? No, actually that was straight. It just feels crooked. Probably from how I'm sitting. Again, I don't have too much pressure pulling this tight. I'm just kind of holding the tail of this just kind of out of the way. Just gently sitting in my fingers so that as I am going through the fiber, it can pull out of my hand and do what it wants to do. I'm going to kind of try to connect that a little bit to the light section that we had up here. Alright, let me snip carefully and make sure you snip all of it. Don't miss any of the little guys hanging about there. And you'll have these little wispies, flyaways that you're like, where did you come from? to the side. Okay. Now, come back in with a bit more of our light green here. Not to be confused with our like lime flesh light green. The shade of this is actually called light green. I'm just gonna start tapping this in here. Around our rock highlight color here. Right. Keep hoping we'll be able to pull this corner back in, but doesn't really seem like that's gonna happen, so can't say we didn't try though. Alright, this is just more of that light green color. Coming in here. And I'm just gently holding the tail of this piece of fluff up out of the way. Not actually pulling it tight or anything this time. Not like when we were doing the waves where I was pulling it tight on the last piece that we did. I'm gonna try to get you sorted. We might be making it worse, I don't know. That's alright. We'll see what comes of it. Okay. See, there you can really kind of get the idea of how stretched out that side is. Alright. Start to get some more of our light green.
Get down!
Uh-oh.
Thank you.
Cat emergency. Hold on. Alright, sorry guys. The cat tried to be ill directly onto Russell, so there was a frantic emergency trying to get him off of Russell's keyboard and onto the floor. We know what happens. Hairballs happen, but let's not do it on top of us, please. Or on the expensive keyboard. It's very sudden. Seems to be okay though. That one makes us nervous though, because he did get his bowel impacted at one point, or intestine, and had to have surgery. But that was when he was also dumpster diving into the box of guinea pig hay. When he shouldn't have been. While we were sleeping and didn't know that he was having such a grand old time in there. That cat. There is a reason we call him P-Butt, because he is quite the butthead sometimes. Alright. See, am I still in frame here? Yes. Okay. Start and get a new all worked into here. Alright, I'm gonna get a little bit more of our dark roving worked into here too. We'll get to that part in just a minute. Was she still cooking?
No, she's done.
Alright, did you want to preheat the oven?
Yeah, give me a second.
And you might have to thaw some of that sauce. Because I don't think it really thawed in the freezer. It wasn't out long enough, or in the fridge it wasn't out long enough. Alright, so we're eating together tonight, so we're gonna be wrapping up here for today pretty soon. And then tomorrow we'll probably go a little bit longer and potentially finish this bad boy up. Or at least that's the plan, because there's not that much left. We just have to finish putting in our grass, which really probably won't take that long. Maybe another hour on the grass, because we have to do our other side too. Maybe another hour-ish fussing with the grass and then put in the waterfall. That probably won't be that long, and I think there might be one more tree. If I'm remembering that final photo correctly. I think. Alright, so let's grab a little bit more of the dark here. And I want to kind of poke that into here. darken up
450?
the 425. Just gonna darken that up a little bit. And then there. Just a little bit. All right. So we'll get that kind of fussed into there. Just make sure that everybody in that area is actually good and attached. When we bring the next color in. So yeah, so we're gonna pause there for today. We didn't get a whole lot done today, but we also did. We got the rest of our ground put in, and saw that there's actually another waterfall that I missed seeing that was supposed to be there. And I'll probably have to clean up that bottom edge a little bit because I can see some of our yellow poking through there, but we'll get there. We'll clean that up when it comes time to clean up our edges and things. So this is where we stand at the moment. We're getting there. So the other waterfall will start about here. I might start it up a little bit higher, maybe about there-ish, and then kind of bring it down to maybe here, and then like have some more of the water kind of going through there. So at least that's what the plan's going to be at the moment. But yeah, so tomorrow we'll be back again at this, and we'll work on getting in our rest of our grass and stuff. And yeah, and then we'll work on the grass and stuff over here. We might be able to finish tomorrow if I have the chance to do a longer session. That's the plan, because I don't think we'll be able to stretch this over 2 more sessions. I think it's going to be like 1.5, and I'd rather do a full session and just be a little bit longer. So we'll try to get that done tomorrow. We'll try to work quickly tomorrow. But yeah, so thank you guys for hanging out with me this evening. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Hope your work week starts out as painlessly as possible. And we'll pick this back up tomorrow. So thank you for all of the things. Don't forget to follow, notifications on. The YouTube following's free. You can subscribe on YouTube for free. It's where I archive most of the live streams, and maybe once in a while you'll see a project pop up that wasn't live streamed, that is like YouTube exclusive. And we've got the Twitter, which is where I post when I go live and when I need to cancel or if I'm running late. And we've got the Kofi for those that don't want to donate through Twitch, and we've got the Insta. The Insta and Kofi also have galleries of stuff that I've done. I think the Kofi has more than the Insta, so all those links are down below on the About tab, or they might just be down below if you scroll down. And then we also have the Etsy shop. We still have a bunch of Bob Ross magnets, and 2 of the tutorials that we've followed needle felting so far are also available for purchase over there. They are unframed because I don't want to ship glass, number 1, if I could even get it to fit in the glass, and number 2, I don't know what frame is going to look good in your decor. and I'd hate for you to purchase a frame that you don't end up using. So that's why I tend to sell the stuff unframed. Just to, you know, that way you can add your own personal touch. You can mat it if you want. You can stick it in any kind of frame that you prefer. You can do glass, no glass, whatever you want to do. But I try to leave that up to you to make it yours and to fit your area a bit better. So with that, have a good evening, everyone. Thank you, and I hope to see you tomorrow.